Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott, and you're in the Prog Corner. Welcome. And today, it's an exciting episode. We're going to explore prog rock from the great Nordic nation of Norway. I was going to do Brazil, and then I changed my mind at the last second. It was a rough week. So I wanted to delve into a country that I was a little more familiar with. Yes, I am 25% Norwegian, so this is going to be awesome. A couple weeks ago, we did Sweden, and I talked about how Sweden historically has always punched above their weight. Well, how about Norway, man? Check it out. Norway has 5.5 million people. It's 118th in population. It's the 61st largest country by area. It's got the 52nd largest GDP, but if you break that down, GDP per capita is number 3 in the world. Yeah, that North Sea oil definitely helped a lot. I'm going to be ranking the top 25 prog artists from Norway. I'm not going to be doing Caliganaut, sorry Michael, Deja Vu or Giant Sky because they only have one album out. Also, I'm not going to be doing Enslaved or Ulver. I really just don't know enough about their music to justify putting them in there. I'm sorry, fans of those bands. Adventure didn't make the cut. Fatal Fusion. The last 2 bands that I had to drop off, which kind of hurt a little bit. The Windmill and Oak. So don't shoot me if you're a fan of those 2 bands. Anyway, at number 25, we're going back to the 70s and Aunt Mary. This was a band that put 3 albums out in the 70s. I'm spotlighting their third one, Janice. They're kind of a straightforward band, maybe proto-prog if you look at the years involved here. Their third album came out in 1973. They put out one more in 2016, which I have actually not heard. They're kind of a hard rocking band. Like I said, they're kind of proto-prog. I think maybe like Germany's Birth Control mixed with a little bit of Golden Earring and Thin Lizzy, and maybe you got a little bit of what Aunt Mary's all about at number 24. It's Green Carnation, yeah. I normally don't talk about prog metal bands a whole lot on this channel, but I do like this band. They've got 6 albums out. Their latest one came out in 2020, which is awesome. But I'm going to spotlight their second album, Light of Day, Day of Darkness, from 2001. These guys are very heavy prog metal. Kind of think maybe like Evergrey or Arion. I'm thinking maybe like a heavy Pink Floyd with the orchestrations and the choirs going on. Really cool, very progressive, very heavy though. The leader of this band is a guy named Terje Rypdal, who they call Tchort. Fantastic stuff. Really like them at number 23. Here's a band that only put out 2 albums and then broke my heart. Their first album came out in 2014. The eponymous Gentle Knife. And then in 2017, their second and their best album came out, Clock Unwound. They're a 10-piece band that burgeoned into an 11-piece band for their second album. They had a bunch of different singers. You had Melina Oz on the first album and Veronica Horvin Jensen on the second album. They were joined by a male vocalist, Hakron Cavill. Really, really cool. If you like Vandergraaf Generator and King Crimson, very deep and really cool record. I really like both of their albums a lot. At number 22, it's Elephant 9, not to be confused with the Elephant 6 movement in Athens, Georgia. This is nothing like it. Elephant 9 is a jazz fusion band. It's a power trio, if you will, kind of like Aristocrats. You got Stale Stoloken from Super Silent. You got Thorstein Lefthos from The Shinning, and Nikolai Hansgli Illertsen on bass. They were joined on a couple of their albums by the great Ryan Fisk from Landberg and Patos and Motorpsycho. And it's one of those 2 albums he was on, I'm spotlighting, which is Silver Mountain from 2015. If you like Mahu Vishnu Orchestra, or if you imagine what Miles Davis' Bitches Brew might be like without the horns, yeah, maybe Elephant 9's your band. At number 21, it's Needlepoint, boys and girls. Very cool, very laid-back band. Makes me think of the West Coast. you know, those sunny California vibes on this record a lot. So it definitely makes you think a little bit about Canterbury. It's got that light jazz kind of feel to it. These guys share the same bass player as Elephant 9. They've got 5 albums out, and I am spotlighting their most recent, Walking Up That Valley from 2021. Just a really cool band if you want a little change of pace in your prog. Needlepoint, fantastic at number 20. How about Panzerpappa? Yeah, this is Tron Julian on drums. It's a Rio band. He's the leader. Very avant-garde, very progressive, very out there. Shamblemaths Mana maybe is a reference point. Universe Zero, Henry Cow. These guys have 7 albums out. They're all really cool. If you like a Chapman Stick, if you like saxophones, you're probably going to like these guys. I'm spotlighting their 3rd album from 2014. It's called Varlig Vandrig. Panzerpappa's really cool. I like them a lot. At number 19, it's another band with only 2 albums out. This is Meer. Their debut album came out in 2016, and it passed me by. I didn't hear it. But then their 2nd album, Playing House, came out in 2021, and I fell in love with it. A lot of my prog brethren here on YouTube also fell in love with it. It's a fantastic record. I can't wait to hear album number 3. These guys are led by a brother-sister vocalist team. You have Joanne Marguerite Nesdal and her brother Knut Kippersund Nedstel. They're an 8-piece band. If you like I Am the Morning, if you like Bent Knee, White Willow, that kind of stuff, maybe even a little bit over to the Kate Bush side of things. It's more art rock probably than prog in some places, but it's phenomenal. I really like it. At number 18, it's Jaga Jazzist. This is probably the weirdest band on here. Electronica mixed with jazz. Doesn't make any sense. Maybe throw a little Canterbury in there. Maybe throw a little Zappa in there. This is a band that's got 7 albums out. They've never really reached their full potential, I don't think, but their 2nd album came real close. From 2001, A Living Room Hush. Really cool, kind of glitch rocky, making me think a little bit of Tortoise at times, TNT era Tortoise, but just a cool band. I like them a lot. Hopefully there'll be a new album out soon. They're still around at number 17. Let's talk about Soup. The great band formed in 2004 in Trondheim by Erlend Viken. He's the keyboard player. These guys have 6 albums out. My favorite is from 2017, their 5th album, Remedies. If you like Pink Floyd, maybe mixed with Midlake. That's what I'm kind of hearing here. I like everything I've heard from these guys. All 6 albums are really, really cool. I guess there's a Giant Sky is kind of like a spin-off band from Soup, but fantastic band. Love them. Number 16. It's 7 Impale. Yeah, these guys only have 2 albums out, but they've got a 3rd one coming out this year. I'm super excited, but I'm spotlighting their fantastic debut, which came out in 2014, City of the Sun. Just really, really great. It's got a lot of Italian kind of feel to it, with some Vandergraaf Generator and King Crimson, maybe a little Motorcycle thrown in there. It's got a little psychedelic jazz feel sometimes. Yeah, 7 Impale, just fantastic. The first single of their new album just dropped. It sounds great. I'm super excited. At number 15, another band with 2 albums out. Yeah, it's Shamblemaths. Their debut came out in 2006. They had a little bit of a lineup change. They got rid of the dude that was playing with Simon Adnoy Ellingson. They added Ingval Andre Vasbo to the mix on their 2nd album, Shamblemaths 2. Guests on that album include the great Paolo Botta from Eugen, and he goes by Skis, put out a couple solo albums as SKE Ski. Fantastic. Again, the King Crimson feel is there. A little bit of Magma maybe in the mix, but Shamblemaths, both albums are fantastic. I cannot wait to see where these guys go next. At number 14, it's Kerrs Pink. Band formed in Tromborg in 1973 by Harold Littomt. These guys put out 2 albums in the 80s, very camel-y, very mellow end of the, melodic prog spectrum. Then they had a couple albums out in the 90s, which I didn't care for. They came back in the 2010s with 3 really super strong albums. 2013's Mystic Spirit, fantastic, but my favorite is 2021's Presence of Life. They now have in fold the great Eriker Hawkson from Magic Pie on vocals, so it gives it much more of a classic rock kind of feel. Just dynamite. I love it at number 13. I'm drinking something out of a green can, so it can only mean one thing. Junipher Greene comes in at number 13. Yeah, let's talk about Junipher Greene. Debut album came out in 1971 called Friendship, the very first double album in Norwegian rock history, and it is just fantastic. Proto-prog a la Jethro Tull, real organ heavy psych pop. It's proto, it's 1971 here. Their second album came out in 1973. It was called Communication. It was really, really good. And I guess they had a couple albums in the 80s, which I haven't heard. I've heard they're not very good, but those 2 70s albums from Junipher Greene, just fantastic. Really, really good stuff at number 12. Going back to the modern era with Airbag. Yeah, this is Bjorn Riis's outfit. The singer here is Als Tostrup. He's got a great voice. Yeah, if you like Pink Floyd and Pineapple Thief and Porcupine Tree, you're gonna love Airbag if you haven't heard them yet. These cats have 5 albums out. I'm spotlighting their second one from 2011, all rights reserved, but I like all 5. They're really, really good. They were formed in Oslo in 2004. Bjorn Riis has put out a bunch of solo albums, which are also really good, but Airbag is fantastic. At number 11, we're getting back to some heavy stuff against my will. I'm being dragged kicking and screaming to like this band. Yeah, it's Leprous. At number 11, I've got the great Leprous, led by the vocalist Einar Solberg, who's dropping a solo album here in a couple weeks. What a voice. What a major whiff on my part when I did the top 25 prog vocalists of all time. I left this guy off the list. Big mistake. He's incredible. The band is great. I am spotlighting their 5th album, The Congregation. That's the one that really kind of got me into them. Their sound is evolving. They're not as heavy as they used to be. They're getting more into like alt rock territory instead of the extreme metal. If you like Haken, you'll probably like Leprous. I'm learning to like them. Like I said, kicking and screaming all the way at number 10. It's White Willow, led by Jacob Holm Lupo, one of the great seminal figures in modern Norwegian prog. These guys have 7 albums out. The first one had, who was on it? I forget who sang on the first one. But then you had Sylvia Eriksson. She's been singing with them for a while. And you even had Lars Fredrik Froley on the last 4 albums from Wobbler. This band has got a lot of folk influences. So it's kind of symphonic folk, maybe like Griffin a little bit, early Genesis. You want to say Renaissance because of the female vocal, but I don't hear Renaissance at all, which is kind of weird. When describing this band, you would think that's what they'd sound like. But they're really, really great. And like I said, they've got 7 albums out. I'm spotlighting the 4th one, Storm Season from 2004. It's probably my favorite, but I like the last 4 quite a bit. White Willow, fantastic. Their last one even had a Roger Dean cover on it. What else do you want, people? At number 9, it's Gazpacho, formed in Oslo in 1996. These cats have 11 albums out, if you can believe it. I'm spotlighting their 4th one, Night, from 2007. Yeah, it's the only one I got the vinyl on. You might see it back there. It's awesome. Yeah, like I said, Jan Henrik Ohm kind of does sing a little bit like Tom York, but they actually sound probably more like late era Talk or H era Marillion. It's more alt rock than prog rock, but Bacho is awesome. That's why they're in the top 10, y'all. At number 8, a personal favorite of mine. I love these guys so much. Another brother duo. It's Benedict Momrak and Chris Momrak. It's Tusmark, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they're oftentimes joined by Lars Fredrik Frosley from Wobbler and the drummer from Wobbler, Martin Nordrum Kneppen. On the latest album, Lars is not with the band anymore, apparently. These cats have 9 albums out. 3 of them are children's records, which is really bizarre hearing prog rockers doing a children's record. I like those also. I'm spotlighting, what album am I going to spotlight? Their 2018 album, Fjordensen I Farver. I just love it. It's so good. The album cover is cool. This band came from the ashes of another band called Les Fleurs du Mal, which included a singer by the name of Andres Prestmo, another Wobbler connection. Yeah, all these Norwegian bands. There's a whole lot of, interplay and cross-pollination going on. At number 7, we're going back to the 70s, and Rufus. Oh, man, I love Rufus. Formed in Oslo in 1970. These guys put out 6 really cool albums in the 70s. They've all been reissued. I'm spotlighting their second one, Ranchart, from 1974, but their debut album, Newborn Day, fantastic. Their third album was produced by the great Terje Rypdal, who we might be talking about here in a minute. They've had a few different female vocalists. They had Gudny Aspes. They had Rune Osdal, Sylvie Lillegard, but the one constant on all these albums is Kjell Larsen on guitar. Such a cool band. They're not hardcore proggers, but they got the spirit of prog, and I just adore Rufus. Fantastic. I like all 6 albums. I really do. At number 6, it's Magic Pie. Oh, man. I dig Magic Pie. I really do. I like all 5 albums. Motions of Desire from 2005, Circus of Life, which I'm spotlighting in 2007, The Suffering Joy from 2011, King for a Day from 2015, and the most recent, the Fragments of the Fifth Element for 2019. These guys are led by the guitar player Kim Stenberg, who writes most of the songs. They've got 2 singers. We mentioned one already when we were talking about Kerrs Pink, Eriker Hawkson. He's got a real rockin' voice, man. He sounds like he's straight out of a hair metal era type of band. But they've got another singer, Eric Hansen, who's got a more normal kind of voice. Erling Honegger on keyboards, Lars Peter Holstad on bass, and Jan Johansson on drums. Yeah, if you like your prog rock a little more aggressive and a little bit more in the rock and roll sphere, I'm thinking Southern Empire, I'm thinking Transatlantic and the Neil Morris Band, you're going to love Magic Pie. And we're at the top 5, boys and girls. At number 5, we mentioned him already, Terje Rypdal. Yeah, I knew nothing about this guy a year ago, and then I did my obscure prog rock rankings where I got all you guys to give me your suggestions, and a couple of you wise people pointed me in the direction of Terje Rypdal. I knew nothing about this cat, man. He's got 23 albums out. He's a jazz guitar player. His first album came out in 1968. It was called Bleak House. I'm going to spotlight his second album from 1971, self-titled album. Just a phenomenal artist with all these really cool soundscapes, bizarre atmospherics. It's jazz rock, but man, it's got this impressionistic feel to it where he's putting all these different flavors in different places. I have not heard all 24 albums yet, or 23, or however many Terje has got, but I will. I promise you that light will not stay on, whatever. At number 4, let's talk about Jordsjø, y'all. Oh, man. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know I love me Jordsjø. I love them a lot. It's a duo that consists of Hakon Oftun and Christian Froland on drums. Their first couple records only came out on cassette. And then they did a split cassette with the Breidablik, a really cool electronic artist from Norway. And then they put out another album only on cassette. That one actually got a lot of people's attention, Jord. So they actually went back and reissued their older stuff on vinyl and on CD. And then, after all that, they came up with a 1-2 punch of Natfulian from 2019 and Pastoralia 2021. I'm spotlighting Natfulian because that seems to be the one everybody loves. I love them all. To me, Jordsjø can do absolutely no wrong. And there's a record coming out later on this year that has some Jordsjø connections. We're going to talk about it at the end. At number 3, going back to the classic era, and Popol Vuh / Popol Ace. Yeah, this is a band out of Norway that put out 2 albums, a self-titled debut, and then an album called Kish Maya in 73. And then they caught wind of this other band called Popol Vuh in Germany, and I guess they got there first, so they abdicated the name, changed it to Popol Ace, and they put out Stolen from Time in 1976. Just phenomenal. I love that album cover. Yeah, if you're a fan of John Anderson's Elias of Sunhillow, you might recognize the artwork. Yeah, it's the same cat. And then they put out one more album in 78, which was absolutely awful. This band is led by the singer Jan Tegan. Oh, he's got a great voice. Those first 3 Popol Ace, Popol Vuh albums, just fantastic. They're not hardcore prog. They're maybe AOR prog. They got a lot of rock and roll in them, but I really love them. Do I like them better than the German Popol Vuh? Probably not, but I love them just the same. At number 2, it's the Mighty Motorcycle Boys and Girls, formed in 1989. These Hepcats have 25 albums under their belt. The debut came out in 91. They were a whole different kind of band back then, more like a metal band or, alternative rock. I don't even know what they were listening to, those old Motorcycle records. They were awesome. They've had a couple changes at the drummer's seat, but right now the band consists of Bent Sather on bass and vocals, Hans Magnus Ryan on guitar, keyboards, and vocals, and their new drummer, who's been around, I guess, on the last 5 or 6 albums, is Thomas Jarmer. Oh, yeah. Oftentimes they're joined by guests. Their 2012 masterpiece, The Death-Defying Unicorn, had Stale Storlookin from Elephant Nine and Super Silent on it. Oh, their best album, just incredible. And then they followed that up with a couple albums with Reen Fisk from Potmos and Landberg and all those other bands he's been involved with, Elephant Nine. Anyway, Motorcycle, man. Just incredible. Love them. But there's only going to be one number 1, and you guys know who it's going to be. It's got to be Wobbler. Oh, yeah, the greatest of all Norwegian prog bands. These Hepcats have 5 albums out, and I adore all 5. Hinterland from 2005, Afterglow from 2009, Rights at Dawn from 2011. And the unbelievable masterpiece that is From Silence to Somewhere came out in 2017, and they followed it up in 2020 with an album almost as good, Dwellers of the Deep. Oh, man, you got Christian Holmgren on bass, Lars Fredrik Frosley on keyboards, Martin Nordum Neppen on drums, Andre Prestmo has been the singer on the last 3 albums, and Geir Marius Borgen Halleland on guitar. He's been around since From Silence to Somewhere. And apparently there's going to be a couple albums coming out here in 2023 with a direct connection to Wobbler and Tusmork and Jordsjø, I guess. The first one is going to be the Lars Fredrik Froley solo album he's putting out. I'm really excited. Apparently these were songs slated for a new Wobbler album, and because of the pandemic and all that stuff, it didn't happen. So I'm super excited about that. And then we've got another project called The Chronicles of Father Robbins, which is going to be members of Tusmork, Jordsjø, and Wobbler. I guess Andres Pressmo is the singer in that project. It's a triple album. It's coming out as like a box set or something. I just can't wait for either of those releases. Yeah, I am 25% Norwegian, so I guess I just really connect with this music on a really deep level, and that's why I jumped the queue. I was going to do Germany or Spain or Brazil or something, but I had to do Norway today. I just had to. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Don't take any wooden nickels, and I am out.